Hello, my name is Scott, KI5 USA, and I'm coming to you from Houston, Texas today on January the 7th, 2020. And I'm going to make a short video on how to program your Anytone radios, 868, 878. I don't know about the new mobile 578 or whatever number it is, but I'm pretty sure it's probably the same. When I got into DMR, I was a new tech, didn't understand how to program this stuff up, and it took me a little bit. And today I got in here and started trying to program some things, and it's been a while, and I had to go back and remember. So that's the reason for the video, to help me and to help you. So if you open up your Anytone CPS software, the programming software, right out of the box, this is what it looks like. It has some frequencies already in here. You don't need any of these, so I'm going to just start out by deleting them. We don't need any of these frequencies in here. And we got to go in here and under radio ID list right here, you want to go in, and if you got your DMR ID, you'll put it right here where it says radio ID. And my name, I'm going to put my call sign there. KI5 USA. And now we're ready to start programming our radio. Now, the cable that came with your radio, when you plug it in, you'll need to figure out what COM port it's on. If you type in device in the search down there, it'll bring up your devices. You'll just go under ports, and you should see it in here. Mine is actually on COM port 9, and I don't have my radio plugged in, so that's why it's not showing up there. But that's where you would make sure that your radio is communicating with your computer. And it's always a good idea to read the data from your radio and save that somewhere. So you'd go to read from radio right here. It'd find your radio, it'd read the data on it, and you'd want to save that file somewhere in case you ever needed it. Alright, so let's get started. There's 3 important things you have to know. First, on DMR, you've got to put in talk groups. Those are the groups that you want to talk on. And so today, most people start out on Brandmeister. That's the most popular network, but I'm going to do TGIF network because I'm finding it's a lot simpler, and it's also got some pretty cool guys in there that'll help you. And so we're going to jump into that real quick. So I got to find some talk groups. So I'm going to go down here to talk groups. And this is where you would enter those things in. So we're going to start by looking at the talk groups that are on the TGIF network. I'm just going to back out here. And if you type in tgif.network, it'll bring up their main page, and then you just go over here to talk groups, and it'll show you all the talk groups that are available to you. I'm in Houston, so I'm going to go find a Houston one here real quick. I know they have a local talk group here. I've never heard anybody talking on it, but I know we have one. And I don't see it right off the top of my head here, and I don't want to spend too much time looking for it. So I've got some others that I like. I'll start out with, let's say, the first responder. I just saw it just a second ago. Or here's one. Here's Anytone. Let's just start out with Anytone. Anytone's talk group number is 878, which is just like the radio number. So let's put that one in there. We'll start right here. I'm going to call this Anytone TGIF, which is what network I'm on. That way I'm kind of organizing. And the channel number or the group number was 878. And that's all I need to put in there. All right, let's find another one real quick. I know some of them off the top of my head because I've put them in so many times. Like Louisiana is my home state. I'm going to put that one in there. Its number is 3122. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to put Louisiana, TGIF. And I'm going to put in there 3122. I'm not going to go back and look at my list. I know some others that I want to put in there. This one is called Cop Talk. I was a police officer, so this one might be interesting to me. And it's got a unique number, which is 911. And hit OK. And one more I might put in there is there's one that's called First Responders. And here's another local one. I'm going to put another local one in there. This guy is a local sheriff's officer, KE5MS. And he has a law enforcement group on TGIF. And his number is 32682. Like I said, I get all that information off of that network page over there. So now I've got 3 talk groups programmed in. I don't know why. What happened to my 911 one? Let's put that one back in there. Cop Talk. That one's not in there. I'll just leave it like that. And like I said, it's 911. Wasn't paying attention. I don't know what happened there. Alright, so I've got some talk groups added. Now I need to go add some frequencies. So I'm gonna start right out of here. I'm gonna use a hotspot to get on the network through my internet. So I'm just gonna make up a frequency for that. I'm gonna call this let's call this TGIF, and I'm gonna call it Cop Talk. And my receive frequency is going to be simplex. So I'm going to say 446.100. 446.100. I don't need to be transmitting high power because I'm going through a hotspot that's right next to me. So I'm going to put it on low. But if you're doing local repeaters, you might want to add it up to turbo or whatever you have to do to get to your local repeater. And now, over here where it says contact, you click on that. And now you'll see those talk groups that you added. So I'm going to do Cop Talk. I'm going to click on it. It changed the name up here under contact. And it's as simple as that. On TGIF, you don't have color codes and slots. They stay on one. And I'll show you what that is, just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you go to like repeaterbook.com and you look for a local repeater that's a DMR, like this one is my local repeater, it'll tell you the frequency it's on, the offset. It'll tell you the color code, which is 7. You'd have to put that in there. And over here, the talk groups that you want to add, it'll tell you what number do you put in there, like 1s or 2s. It's either 1 or 2. So let me go back to my software and I'll show you. I would change this to 7. And I'd change the slot to 2. But like I said, with the TGIF, it's all set to 1, so you don't have to really change anything. Alright. So I've got that one added. And now I want to add another one. It's really easy. All you got to do is copy this. It's not going to change. Your frequencies aren't going to change. The only thing that's going to change is the channel name. I'm going to put the Louisiana in there. Another A on there. And I'm going to go over here and change my contact to Louisiana. Hit OK. Go back over here again. Paste again. I got that. The local law enforcement officer that I'm talking about, KE5MS. I'm going to put law enforcement and go over here and find his. And the last one's going to be the Anytone one. Go right here and pick Anytone and hit OK. So anytime you add a talk group, it's going to show up in that contact list when you're adding a channel. Very important. Okay, now the next thing, these Anytone radios have zones, and basically a zone is just a group of channels that you want to listen to. So you don't have to listen to all 8,000 channels or 4,000 channels or how many ever channels it will hold. You can separate them into zones. So I do have one for like Houston. I have one for Dallas, Austin, whatever area I'm traveling through. I try to set up a zone, so I just have to listen to the local channels. So you go to zone, and you're going to name your zones, whatever you want. I'm going to call this one, I'm going to just call it TGIF, because that's what zones these are in. They're in the TGIF zones. So I'm going to call it TGIF, and then I'm going to go right down here, and you'll see the groups that I added. And I just slip them over there one at a time. Hit OK. And you have to do this because if you don't add your channels to a zone, you won't hear anything. Has to be added to at least one zone. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. And it tells me now I got a zone called TGIF with 4 channels. And if I want to go in there and add some more, I have to go down to talk groups and add them to my channels, then come back and add them to my zones. Pretty easy. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. Now I'm all set. I could now write this to my radio. Just go over here and write it to the radio, and it will copy all that information over to my radio, and I can start talking on these channels. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can email me. It's ki5usa.scott with a capital S at gmail.com, and I'll be glad to try to help you out if I can. 73s, and hope to catch you down the list somewhere. Did that not record?